Mr. Latunji, we're still with you on this aspect of what exactly is your commission doing to ensure that we have a centralized database? Because as it is, we have multiple fronts, even from government agencies, the road safety, the police, international passport, they all require data at different points.
Yeah, I think we, at times, we benchmark our initiatives here with global best practice, and most times we don't get some of the facts right.
Okay.
On the issue of multiple data collection by government organizations, any part of the world you get to, it's the same thing. For instance, in the US, you have your social security number. When you go to a bank to open an account, you have a bank account number. When you go to your health service provider, you have your health record number. If you are doing your driver license number is different from your social security number. It's the same thing. But the most important thing for us is to have a foundational ID.
Exactly.
Which is a unique identifier that can be used to identify you as a Nigerian, which is the foundational ID. And in terms of transaction, this is what all of that data collected will make reference to. Exactly. Now, do we have that in Nigeria as we speak? Yes. With NCC in place and the national identification number. That is the foundational ideas in Nigeria. I must give kudos to NCC with the fact that they were established in 2007, and between 2007 and 2019, 2020, they were able to capture just about 39 million Nigerians. But as we speak, within 2 years, when NCC was moved to Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, as we speak, their database has more than 107 million data of Nigerians, which is almost half of the population. That means that an average Nigerian of transitional age has a need. You go to your bank, they ask for your name. You go for NYC, they ask for your name. You want to go to university, you want to write JAMB, you want to open anything you want to do, you have your name. So for transactional purposes, you have a name, which is your identity, unique identity as in Nigeria. Now, all we need to do is to harmonize. That is, if you go to point A, there are some information they may require from you, which if you give them your name, they don't need to ask you for such information. Is that happening already? Yes. Has it covered almost everybody or every government entity? No. If you look at what is happening between NCC and Nigerian Immigration Service, now if you want to obtain your international passport, the most important information they ask from you is your name. When you give them your name, they pull every other information about you from NCC's database. So it's already happening. The same thing with road safety. You want to process your driver license. When you give them your name, they pull a lot of information. And government has gone ahead to set up a National Data Harmonization Committee where sharing and access to data from each other will be free and seamless. Okay. And under a very secured environment in terms of technologies and people that are processing such information. So we are building that process in Nigeria. It's a journey which we have started and we're making good progress, which is the most important thing. And with the support that NCC is getting from a lot of development partners, a lot is happening. Even when you go in villages, you see enrollment officers enrolling people. All we are now doing is to ensure that such data with NCC, which is a foundational idea for Nigerians, is protected, is secure, is safe, and is processed within an environment where you can receive trust and confidence in what we are doing. So we are doing it and we're making progress with it.
Indeed. We'll still come back to you, but Mr. Tony, there's this growing concern. We're still talking about the increase in tariff. There's this growing concern that this increase might, affect impact the digital inclusion in the sense that it will undermine efforts of internet penetration and it will limit access to information. How is the country going to be able to deal with this pushback?
I think that's a contradictory statement, because what is actually going to happen, more services are going to be given, because more investment is going to happen within the sector. It's the clamor or the notion that you are going to make the digital inclusion less. I don't know where that is coming from. That is definitely not the case. If we have now more revenues to invest more and meet the demands of more subscribers, then you are actually expanding the digital inclusion. And don't forget, a certain portion of this revenue also goes into funds that are used to power or provide infrastructure for underserved and unserved areas. So there are mechanisms already in place to ensure that the sector continues to grow. And this tariff increase is actually one of the major mechanisms that will ensure the growth of the sector. So there is definitely no way, shape, or form that such an issue or such an...
But Mr. Tony, you understand that Nigerians are currently dealing with a lot of inflation in other sectors like transportation, increase in food and all of that. With this increase in data, don't you think this is poor timing?
Poor timing or necessary. You have to think of it and balance it out. The issue is that once you have this increase, okay, there'll be more investment, and ultimately the consumer is still going to benefit. Don't forget, once the sector is growing and is vibrant, you will have more innovation coming into the sector. If some of us remember, there was a time when we were paying per minute for phone calls, and then more players were attracted to the sector due to the vibrancy of the sector, and a player came in and changed the landscape from subscribers being charged per minute to per second. So if the sector is not attractive for investment and not attractive for competition, it will just remain stagnant. So I think what we are looking at, we are just looking at it from a very, very short and narrow prism. If you look at it medium to long term, the consumer is going to be the ultimate beneficiary, because more and more players are coming into the sector. They are seeing the attractiveness of the sector now that the tariffs have increased. Competition will become more rife, okay, and there'll be more activities and vibrancy, and ultimately more and new innovations will come into the sector that will actually drive the consumer price down ultimately, or the offerings to the consumer. There are several ways consumers can actually benefit from innovation in the sector. But once the sector is not growing, once the sector is not vibrant, there is no innovation. And who bears the brunt? It's the consumer at the end of the day. Okay. So I think this clamor for consumer rights, and don't forget, if the consumer is not paying, the telcos are not also making any money. So there is no way an MNO will sit down, rest on his laurels, and give the consumer the short end of the stick. It's not.
Okay, Mr. Tony. We hope that there will always be a meeting ground where consumers will get quality for whatever they are paying with this recent increase. Now, Mr. Olatunji, let me come back to you. Recently, you unveiled a certification training for some Nigerians. Talk to us about this certification.
Thank you very much. The trend globally now is tending towards services, creating jobs through services. And the digital economy sector globally is attracting a lot of skills that will enhance people to benefit from the global digital economy. In the data privacy part of digital economy, there is a shortage of human power globally. For instance, in Europe, 94% of companies have issues with skills in the area of data privacy. That's where there are a lot of issues. And in Nigeria, it's even more than that. It's almost 99%. And yes, we are practicing data privacy and protection, yet you don't have the requisite human power to drive what we are doing. And we don't forget that no matter how robust or strong your policies, your laws are, you don't have the human capital to drive what you want to do. You won't achieve anything. Now, when we started, we carried out a survey to look at the number of data controllers and processors in Nigeria, that is, organizations that collect and process personal data of Nigerians. We, through the work we did with our DPCOs and the CAC, we discovered that we have about 500,000 data controllers and processors in Nigeria. And what we have in our law to ensure that the data with them is guaranteed, is protected, and we really trust what they are doing, is that each of them must have a data protection officer to oversee their data processing activity to ensure that they do what is right in protecting your data and my data with them. And we look at the manpower in this ecosystem in Nigeria for less than 10,000. So there's a huge gap of about 480,000 jobs waiting for people to take up. And we now look at what should we do? In developing our own roadmap, we make a pillar, one of the pillars, on awareness and human capital development to fill the gap. And we discovered that a lot of people that will have filled the gap ordinarily, they don't have the requisite knowledge in data privacy and protection. And for those of us who are certified, when I wrote my exams, it was about $1,000. So we're asking people to get certified to come to this ecosystem, not minding the long-term benefit to them. I'm afraid that hardly can we get enough people that want to pay that much.
So what's the selection process like for beneficiaries?
I'm coming there.
Okay.
So that was why we now decided to domesticate the certification process. We license a national certification body, and we have licensed data protection compliance organizations to train people, prepare them for the exams. Two things. One, the standard must be globally competitive to be compared to anyone in any part of the world. Two, if you are a certified data protection officer in Nigeria, you'll be able to work in any part of the world. And that was why, to take off with the pilot, government, we made an advert that we wanted to do this. And within 2 hours of the advert, we have over 500 people applying to come for the training and write the certification exam. And we have slot for just 500 people. In fact, we had to shut the portal down. We reopened again. At the end of the day, before 6 p.m., we had 1,126 for a slot of 500. So we are now out to look at their certificates, their qualifications, their geographical location, because we are doing in Abuja and Lagos. We now selected 500. And for the 500, we took off on Monday. They'll be trained for 1 week, 300 in Abuja, 200 in Lagos. And they will, after the training, they will now write their certificates. And one good thing that we did,
unfortunately, we've run out of time. We hope that we'll continue this conversation. There's just a lot to talk about. Exactly. We'll bring you back on the program some other time. Thank you so much for your time with us on the program, Mr. Vincent Olatunji.
Dr. Vincent.
Dr. Vincent Olatunji. It's good to have you on the program. And Mr. Tony Mekbere, right? Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's the much we can take here in Abuja. It's back to you in Lagos, Veronica and Ibrahim. Did you enjoy our conversation this morning? A lot to say about the tariff increase and data protection of Nigerians.
Absolutely, TJ. So there's so much to talk about this, especially how Nigerians are not ready for another tariff hike for anything, not just for a data, but for anything as we speak. But let's see how far we can go with regards to this, because there are those who are saying they are dragging the government to court with regards to this. Anyway, we'll leave the conversation here now. Thank you. Thank you so much. We need to quickly move and take a break. When we return, we'll bring you our feature story. Stay with us.